There's a very simple solution to all this. Political parties can stop giving tickets to anyone who faces criminal charges. Unfortunately, this very simple suggestion seems to be like water off a duck's back as far as political parties are concerned. They are simply not willing to look at this option. I wonder why. And that's the question I want to lead with tonight. In fact, that's the only relevant question this evening. T.R. Raghunandan is advisor of the Accountability Initiative of the Center for Policy Research. Good evening. Nice to see you on the Newshour this evening, sir. Sanjay Jha of the Congress, welcome. Meenakshi Lekhi of the BJP, welcome. Gaurav Bhatia of the Samajwadi Party, welcome. You have also got many criminals in your midst, criminal politicians facing charges. Rahul Mehra of the Aam Aadmi Party, welcome. And my first question is to Aryaman Sundaram, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court. Why can't all political parties... Now, I am hearing, first of all, let me put this to you. Aryaman Sundaram, the buzz is that political parties, government will challenge this. That they will say, let's get into areas of what is a serious offense, what is not. Let's get into the definition of how this Supreme Court ruling is to apply. Is that a good thing to do? Is that an advisable thing to do?
Well, whether they try to do it or not, I think the Supreme Court judgment is absolutely clear. It says there's no room for ambiguity. It is very clear. All that the Supreme Court has said is that the provision, Section 8(4) of the Representation of People's Act,
yes,
which provides that even when convicted, you can continue, if you're already a member of Parliament, to occupy your seat, is unconstitutional and violative of Articles 102 and 191 of the Constitution. That is all it is. Now, if you remove Section 8(4) from the Act, then the protection given to people who are convicted, who have already been in Parliament, and while they're in Parliament are convicted to continue, that protection is gone. And I think it's a very, very clear judgment. It's all black and white. I don't think there's room for ambiguity. The question is, can a person who is convicted, who otherwise could not have stood for election in the first place,
yes,
merely because he has already stood for election and he's in Parliament, continue as a parliamentarian? If the man could not have at the first instance become a parliamentarian if he was convicted, can he merely because he's already a parliamentarian continue as one?
Yes.
And the Supreme Court says certainly not.
Exactly.
So I think much as they may try, political parties are going to find it very, very difficult to try to find any grey in this judgment.
You know, but here's the biggest contradiction. India's two biggest parties, the BJP and the Congress, their vote share falls, but what increases for both these parties is the number of criminals or people facing criminal charges who they put up in the election. The statistics are shocking, Meenakshi Lekhi. For the BJP, out of 438 candidates, 117 candidates you put up who have pending criminal cases against them. That's 27%.
I would want you...
27%.
I would want
my
you
question,
to read
therefore,
the charges.
my question, therefore...
I would want you...
My question,
no,
therefore...
No.
My question, therefore, to you is... Allow me to ask you the question.
Mr. Goswami.
The question, Ms.
I'm
Lekhi.
sorry, I won't allow you to target BJP.
No, I'll target...
If you want to keep the level of debate at the level of debate, then it's fine. If you're going to target BJP, I have no interest in even participating in your debate. If you want to also cite the... I want you to cite...
Ms. Lekhi, why are you being so intolerant of the facts?
Please cite. I am being intolerant because I'm observing certain things, and it is in this context I
what
would
are you
want
observing?
You to read the statistics pertaining to SP, and I would want you to certain targeting. That's what I'm observing, and that's it. It is in this context I am asking
Ms. Lekhi, I'm sorry you didn't. Ms. Lekhi, I object.
And SP.
I object to what you're saying because you didn't hear my question.
Object, and I'm also objecting.
You didn't hear my question. I said both Congress and BJP. Ms. Lekhi, the question is this: all parties, including the BJP,
sorry.
All parties. 1 minute. Ms. Lekhi, will you take my question? Can I set the contours of the debate?
No, I will not. Please set the contour on the right track. Please cite the statistic for Congress and the SP.
Ms. Lekhi, when I come to the Congress person, I'll cite the statistics. For now, I request you.
No,
I request you 1 minute. Ms. Lekhi, don't be so intolerant of the facts.
I need to understand.
Don't be so intolerant of the facts
I'm not intolerant. I'm intolerant. I'm sorry, I'm not intolerant. I will face the question, I will answer the question.
Ms. Lekhi,
but I won't allow you to only pinpoint to
Ms. Lekhi, you are not allowing me to proceed. You are heckling me. You are not letting me proceed. Please allow me to proceed.
Anybody wants you to proceed with that question.
I am being heckled by Meenakshi Lekhi on top of Newshour tonight. And Meenakshi Lekhi, I object to your heckling me on my own program. But my question to you is this.
Arnab, you can be the question.
Yes.
Arnab, you can't be heckled by anyone.
Well, I am being heckled by you, but I refuse to be heckled any further. The question is this. The Supreme Court order may be a step in the right direction, but it disqualifies people only if it is convicted. My question is, the best thing to do for all parties, including yours, ma'am, is that you don't put up the 27% average people who have criminal records in front of the people and say vote for them. But you have the ability to do so.
You see, as per the election law, no, we have a lot of ability and we curtail many people also, so far as ability is concerned. But if you know the election law prescribes who is allowed and who is not allowed, and what kind of charges are permissible, what kind of charges are impermissible, what is the difference between conviction and what is the difference between charge sheet. And I think Mr. Sundaram should answer this instead of me answering this, because if I answer these questions, I'll be labeled as somebody speaking for the BJP.
Mr. Sundaram just said it. You didn't listen to him. You didn't listen to him. No, Ms. Lekhi. Mr. Sundaram laid out.
I listened to him,
Mr. Sundaram laid out Section 8.4.
I would want him to speak the law.
Ms. Lekhi, can I please be...
As a lawyer, I would want him to... Please allow me to ask Mr. Sundaram, is there a difference between a conviction and a charge sheet?
Hello, ma'am, please.
How does
please
law
listen to me.
recognize...
Please listen to me. Yours truly is not completely ignorant of the law. I may not be sitting with you in a black robe and practicing as a lawyer, but let me most respectfully submit to you, as a person who's only playing the role of the lawyer of the people, that the Supreme Court today has struck down as ultra vires a provision of the Representation of People's Act, which protects a convicted lawmaker against disqualification on the grounds of pendency of appeal against their conviction in the higher courts. So what the bench has said, the only question is about the vires of Section 8.4 of the Representation of People's Act, and we hold it ultra vires, and the disqualification takes place from the day of the conviction, which means, T.R. Raghunandan, what does it mean? The moment you are convicted, you're out.
Mr. Goswami,
Mr. Raghunandan, what does it mean in plain language?
Mr. Goswami, just allow me one
That's
interruption.
it exactly means
what
that.
You cited.
Allow Mr. Raghunandan to please come in. Mr. Raghunandan. Mr. Raghunandan, please.
Is what prevails.
Mr. Raghunandan.
See, if you look at the Representation of People's Act, there was a certain concession that was given to a sitting MP or a sitting MLA, that they could have this concession that that they could take some time to file the appeal, 3 months time, and if there was an appeal, then they wouldn't be disqualified, and therefore they were given this concession. I think the reason why they were given this concession in the law was that politicians are particularly vulnerable to malicious prosecutions. But the fact of the matter is that this concession has enabled a large number of people who are convicted to continue in Parliament, and I think the Supreme Court's judgment is music to my ears. It can actually turn the tide, because what it has done is that it has set the benchmark for all political parties. Earlier, I think political parties were not willing to stand out, to step back. No political party was honest enough to admit that they have criminals in their ranks, and they would always point their finger to some other political party and say that they have to now reduce the number of criminals.
Exactly,
and
they played that game.
Do the same.
Yeah.
Now what the Supreme Court has done, is it said the game is over.
That's over.
No more people who are convicted will continue. And in a sense, it has actually restored the balance between an ordinary individual and an MP, because the concession given to MPs is becoming misused.
Absolutely.
It has been misused. What is the parinam? What is the result of having a law like this?
But the ball is in the politician's
the
court.
result of having a law like this.
The ball is in the politician's court, and therefore I asked Gaurav Bhatia. You see, Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, your party's statistics are also not very shining. In fact, you are closing in on 29-30%. 55 out of 192 candidates that you put up have pending criminal cases against them. Now you realize the gravity of what has happened, Gaurav Bhatia, is that tomorrow against any of these, suppose these people get elected and they get convicted tomorrow, they will no longer be MPs and MLAs, which means there will have to be a by-election or another election. You cannot afford that situation. Hence, your only option today is to completely avoid putting criminals in the electoral fray. But can a party that has gone soft even on Raja Bhaiya afford to do that? Will you do that, Gaurav Bhatia?
Arnab, I would start by saying that it's wrong to say that we were soft on any minister.
Oh, yes, you were.
Because the minister, as soon as his name came, resigned from the post of the ministership. Secondly, you are right when you say that the numbers are not very encouraging, and it would have been a very easy reply for me to say that, you know, the same numbers exist in Congress, BJP and other parties. But I would rather talk about my own Samajwadi party than talking about other parties who have criminals. I would say this, that there has been an internal check and introspection in the party, and it was visible in the 2012 elections where the number of criminal candidates came down. Any minister who was also charged of, breaking the law, action was taken against such a minister. The verdict of the Supreme Court is a welcoming sign, and it's been coming from the apex court. The Samajwadi Party would honor it. I have always advocated that there should be an internal mechanism within the party to ensure that such candidates are not fielded.
I heard that.
It might take some time, but one day I would be on your program and I would proudly say that it has happened, and we have, weeded out all the criminals of the party.
Sir?
And we are working on it, Arnab.
Which day will that be? Will that be 2014 or 2014?
You can compare the numbers with the last.
Or never?
Even the 2014 elections would reflect that the numbers would come down, Arnab, and that is why I'm saying you have to see the positive side of what the Samajwadi Party is also doing.
No, I don't think that's good enough. The answer the people of this country want to hear, and I take that to Pinaki Mishra, is that we will not give any ticket to any politician with a pending criminal case against them. But Pinaki Mishra, I don't know whether even your party will be able to say that, or whether you will also obfuscate this with some legal jargon. Where do you stand?
No, Arnab, there is no obfuscation of any legal jargon by any legal jargon here. The point is that the Supreme Court has taken away the exception carved out by 8(4) of the Representation of People's Act. 8(1) gives you a list of all the offences, the serious offences, which could result in a disqualification. I think all political parties now would be well advised not to give tickets to any of persons who are, tainted or tarred by any of the offences listed out in 8(1), because the chances of a conviction, therefore, are very high. The chances of disqualification now staring in the face. I think all political parties, it's a level playing field. All political parties understand that if there is an offence under 8(1), you will not get a ticket.
Right.
But there are offences of, breach of peace under 144 and, such things which in political parlance are not, they are called political offences. They are not criminal offences. You're doing in a dharna, you're in a show where you're breaching public peace. These kind of things I don't think fall under 8(1) in any case. So therefore,
well, I don't know.
I think
my view would be
political parties will welcome this.
I don't know.
Political parties will now desist from giving tickets, including ours.
No, I'll come to you, Ms. Lekhi. Let's get everyone in.
I don't tell you straight away, Arnab, let me tell you straight away, I don't think the BJD has given anybody a ticket who's been accused of an offence under 8(1) in any case, whether convicted.
Sir, I am talking about one second. I'll tell you the statistics. The statistics, unfortunately, are not as flattering for your party as you make it out to be. In 2004, you had the least number of people with criminal cases as per my statistics. You had only 8%. Unfortunately for your party, by 2008, you were in competition with the SP by giving 28% of your party people who were fighting seats had pending criminal cases against them.
Check what the offences are, Arnab.
Well, no.
Please check the offences. Check what the offences are. This is not murder,
Mr. Mishra, I understand what you're saying, but there will be an argument that even if a member of parliament is convicted of theft, how does it not demean the house that he or she represents?
No, I agree, but then it would fall under 8.1.
I agree with that.
It has to fall under the 8.1 bar.
The question therefore is, everyone speaking in the right language today on the news. I want to know how, because I'm going to record this program and play it before the election. I want to know eventually how many, because I'm tired of homilies. And Meenakshi Lekhi will remember. Meenakshi Lekhi, Rajnath Singh says, I agree with Advani ji, though I cannot guarantee that everybody who is a member of the BJP is free of taint and as pure as the waters of the Ganga. But I will ensure that anyone facing charges which are prima facie there will not be allowed to hold a post and will even be denied a ticket. Now we have to make sure that is implemented. That's not just a homily when Rajnath Singh takes over as BJP chief. Let's get Sanjay Jha in. Will the Congress party promise on the program tonight that not one person facing pending criminal cases will be put up by the party seeking election for a third time?
Arnab, I don't think I would like to beat about the bush. The fact is, as I'm somebody who's very new as an outsider into politics, I can tell you that the political system needs a serious purging. And I'm speaking this is not an official version of the party. I think the law minister will respond to the...
That's a standard lecture, Sanjay Jha.
But I do believe that I do believe that the August... I do believe that the parliament that we call August, its sanctity needs to be preserved. There's no denying that. I will also not deny the fact that in our own party, we have had some criminal elements that have managed to infiltrate the system. Is it a responsibility?
The highest number of criminals, not some.
Of the Congress party, because we are a large party. We are a large party. We have a grand old tradition, and I do believe all political parties here need to be on a consensus. But I would like to add one point.
I'm sorry, but this is all one blank lecture. This is all one blank lecture.
I just want to make one point. That we have brought in the RTI in the country. We have introduced the Lokpal in the country, and we do believe that the future is to try and as far as possible and as quickly as possible bring about a complete dramatic overhaul to our political system.
So then I
subscribe, although I think the formal statement from the party might happen tomorrow.
No, I don't know why you are hedging everything today. Why are you hedging? I am told the government is trying to challenge the Supreme Court order seeking more clarification on the gravity of offences. And by the way, Meenakshi Lekhi and Pinaki Mishra, let me tell you, dharna or protest does not warrant 2 years in prison. The Supreme Court has spoken about convictions for 2 years, so that that Lakshman Rekha has already been drawn.
May I clarify for your consumption? May I clarify for your consumption?
Arnab, because I have to leave, if you can just allow me to make a quick point.
What Mr. Mishra is saying.
Arnab, because I have to leave, if you can allow me.
Okay, go ahead. I haven't gone to the Aam Aadmi party
I just want to make 2 quick points, Arnab. Arnab, I just want to make a quick point. I think the larger issues that we need to address, the reason why the Supreme Court has had to pass the order is because we need a quicker system of judicial remedy so that
please don't pass the buck on the Newshour tonight. No, this is straightforward passing of the buck. The same politicians who benefit by dragging the cases. The same political parties whose representatives benefit by dragging the cases cannot flip on the other side. Let's get in the Aam Aadmi party. I'm coming to you. Rahul Mehra's response to Meenakshi Lekhi and Sanjay Jha. Yes.
Well, Arnab, one thing is very clear from all of the debate that I've heard so far, that as far as the BJP and the Congress are concerned, there's a match fixing out here as well, and also of the other parties. Because each one of them will take a higher moral ground on your show. Rahul, but when it comes down to doling out tickets are going to be doled out on all issues. Because I didn't interrupt anyone. I expect people are not going to interrupt and have a civilized debate. So please wait for a chance now. So Arnab, the issue is that when you pose a question to Meenakshi Lekhi, she was pointing fingers at Congress and Samajwadi Party. When you ask the question to the other two, they were pointing fingers at the others. What does this show, and why this judgment has been invited by the Supreme Court? Simply because the corrective measures which should have been there in the political parties themselves have failed. All the political parties have failed the citizens of this country, have failed the trust that was reposed in the citizens of this country, that they will field honest candidates. I am proud to be a member of Aam Aadmi Party, where we not only have internal mechanisms but also external mechanisms. Once, if at all, we have given a wrong candidate a ticket, then you can post your objections, and we are duty bound to throw them out. So this is the only political party, and let me remind you, let's not wait till 2014. There is an election in 2013 and many elections in 2013. Let's start from here, and let's start from ourselves.
What happens?
Let's do some inner introspection.
It all
let's
sounds
not
good.
say that the Supreme Court has to do it. We are not going to invite Supreme Court. We are going to look into ourselves. We are not going to wait for the verdict.
That's all good.
We are not going to wait for charge sheets.
That's all good. Meenakshi Lekhi wants to respond to you.
We are going to impose. It's going to be a
It sounds good. We are taking responses, please. The debate is now open. I go back to Meenakshi Lekhi, but before that, Gaurav Bhatia wanted to say something. Meenakshi, I'm going to come to you in just one bit. What is unacceptable to the people tonight is this whole business. Let's evolve a consensus. Because I remember in January 2010, Sonia Gandhi exhorted parties to evolve a consensus. And she says, we don't want the influence of money. We don't want the influence of money power. We want transparency. We must prevent people with a criminal record from contesting the elections. This from a party which put up 117 candidates. 117, 27% with criminal backgrounds. In a country where 1,158 candidates had pending criminal cases against them. I think it's a farce. Gaurav Bhatia, your response. Who are you responding to? Aryaman, coming to you right after.
I just wanted to respond to the comments made by the representative of the Aam Aadmi Party that while I was replying for the Samajwadi Party, I never spoke about the other two national parties. He said that I was referring to them, so that's factually not correct. Secondly, I would also like to say that in the 2012 assembly elections itself, there was a minister of the BSP government who was charged with corruption offences, and the Samajwadi Party refused to take that person in the party. He went and he joined the Bharatiya Janata Party. You know, the point that I'm trying to make is that the reasonableness and the effectiveness need not be confined to one party. Even if we have an internal mechanism, the other parties should also shut the door. There have been many examples where Samajwadi Party, it happened with DP Yadav, where the Samajwadi Party refused to admit him in the party. There were other parties who offered him ticket. So, you know, it would be wrong to say that the Samajwadi Party is not doing the needful. I have already mentioned that we would ensure that the number goes down and it should come to a point where there is no person with criminal antecedent. One more thing, Arnab, the data that you are referring to is about the FIRs that have been lodged or charge sheets that have been filed. The persons have not been convicted. And during the BSP regime, when we were fighting against a corrupt government, there were a lot of false cases that were slapped on the Samajwadi Party workers.
I have heard this before.
And that is why that number
I have heard this before, and I have heard this before. I don't. No, that's not the point.
That is why it is important.
The point is, Gaurav Bhatia, Gaurav Bhatia, Mr. Rajagopal of the Congress, welcome to the program. No, that's not the point. The point is, and I go back to Aryaman Sundaram. The point is that political parties,
the data, you have to be sure that the data reflects the right picture as well. In this case, it doesn't.
Mr. Bhatia, of course it does.
These candidates of the Samajwadi Party have a criminal case against them.
I am talking about pending criminal cases against them. And what I am saying is simply this. Yes, Aryaman comes in.
What I am saying is pending criminal cases could mean anything.
Of course it could mean anything.
Writing. It could mean...
So why do you talk
criminal?
If you want to
if you protest,
if you want to give tickets
if you protest against...
No, it does not mean if you protest or you hold a dharna. No, it doesn't. Aryaman,
would the government not slap false cases against you?
You see, one second. Your attempts to make those who are facing criminal cases out to be some kind of, political activists, innocent people who have been tied down by their rivals and other products.
I am not trying to.
Please don't.
I am not trying to do that. I am trying to differentiate between people who have committed heinous crimes.
The question is moral tonight. And the problem is that no political party, certainly not yours, certainly not the Congress, Mr. Rajagopal, welcome, it's certainly not the BJP, which fell over backwards to get Vittal by Radadia. A person who is accused of everything, from including dacoity. And Narendra Modi welcomed him and garlanded him and talked about bringing him back. They have lost the moral right to take a position on this subject. Aryaman Sundaram, your position. Meenakshi Lekhi, I'm coming to you. Aryaman Sundaram. Aryaman Sundaram,
please make that exception, it's important.
Aryaman Sundaram.
Can I
accept the Aam Aadmi Party?
Can I just clarify one thing? I think we're all missing the point here. There is no doubt that the Constitution, the Representation of People's Act, provide only for disqualification of convicted people, not charged people. There is no doubt about that. But what we're debating now is something else. We are talking about an issue of what would be the position if the protection given to sitting members, which was there under 8.4, has now been struck down. What would be the practical situation if people who have been charged are voted to Parliament and thereafter, in view of the Supreme Court having struck down the protection under 8.4, when they are convicted, all those seats fall vacant? That does not make for good government. So what the debate, just allow me to finish, madam, just allow me to finish, just a moment. So what the debate is really about is, what should we do about people who are charged? And here I want to clarify something. Let's understand there are different stages in a case. Yes, there will be room for innocent people being accused of things. But there are different stages. You first have an FIR stage.
Exactly.
Then you have a court taking cognizance and issuing process. Then you have a charge sheet being filed. But I think what we're really discussing today is not any of these three stages. We are discussing a stage where after all this is done, after the, just a moment please, after the charge sheet is filed, if the court frames charges, when the court frames charges, that's because the court has come to the conclusion, not the complainant, not the person who gave the first information, but the court comes to the conclusion that this is a case where more than a prima facie case has been made out, that charges have to be framed and the trial proceed. I think what we're really discussing is, what do we do in cases of people where charges have already been framed? Not merely where an FIR has been lodged or a complaint given or it's under investigation or even if a charge sheet has been filed. I'm talking about the court having framed charges.
Where today's order
sufficiently that you may end up with vacant seats. So let's view it politically, let's view it practically, and let's view it morally. And I think once charges are framed, parties should desist from giving those people seats.
But they won't do that. And that's where the moral dilemma comes in. And the moral dilemma, I go back to Meenakshi Lekhi, moral dilemma hits parties, like all parties, in their face. So my question is, had this Supreme Court ruling come earlier, Meenakshi Lekhi, would you have taken in the Right Honourable Vittalbhai Radadia, among whose eminent charges against him includes dacoity? Would you have, and a man who said, how can a person who earns 100 rupees ask me for a toll? I have every right to put my gun on his head. Would your party and Narendra Modi have brought back Vittalbhai Radadia into the party irrespective of today's verdict? And had this verdict come out, Meenakshi Lekhi, before Vittalbhai Radadia was brought back with open arms by Narendra Modi, would you have brought him in the BJP? Please answer it pointedly.
I'll answer you pointedly and I'll raise a question about you also pointedly. The pointed answer is this particular judgment does not affect getting him into the party, number one, because this judgment is about somebody who has been convicted. And somebody who has been convicted, and going back to Mr. Sundaram's analogy, the judgment is, if he has to read 151 also, under which if a seat falls vacant within 6 months, the re-election needs to happen, and it needs to happen within next 6 months. Under these circumstances, the seats will keep on falling vacant, and anyway, this is the law of the land.
Let it be.
This must be implemented, and I'm all for this. Now, coming to the second question.
Vittalbhai Radadia was my question.
Not a national figure till he joined. I'm sorry, I'm coming to you and I'm answering you pointedly. Vittalbhai Radadia was not a national headline till he joined the BJP. So this is the
I'm sorry, you are so completely mistaken, Ms. Lekhi. I cannot let you get away with that. You are so completely mistaken. You are so completely mistaken.
You tell me, when was the first time you covered Mr. Vittalbhai Radadia? When was the first time you covered Mr. Vittalbhai Radadia and the likes? You tell me that.
Ms. Lekhi, please remember this. Before you try and get aggressive on this subject, let me tell you very clearly that when he was stopped at the toll plaza, you are on the defensive.
You only covered him when he was stopped at the... I'm not defensive.
Are you embarrassed?
I am asking you in return.
And I am asking you. I'm asking
Of
you.
course it's
I'm asking you. Are you embarrassed? Are you embarrassed?
Who's saying it's not embarrassing?
Are you embarrassed that?
Are you embarrassed? What right do you have?
Are you embarrassed?
What right do you have to embarrass me?
Miss Lekhi,
I'm asking you that. Are you that clean
embarrassed?
yourself?
I'm asking
Please
you a
answer
question.
me there.
I'm asking you a
Of course
question.
I'm embarrassed.
You're not embarrassed.
No, you're not asking me a question.
You're not letting me ask a question. Miss Lekhi, you should listen to the question. Miss Lekhi,
I will answer you. But first you answer me. When was the first time you covered him?
Miss Lekhi, by the way, I'll tell you one thing. I've been listening to this for a long time. And now I will need to tell you very directly. Please understand, political parties don't need to give lectures to journalists on what to cover and not to cover. And let me tell you, Miss Lekhi, one second, Miss Lekhi, now let me complete.
Why not?
Now let me complete. Because we don't need your permission to cover Vittal Bhai Radadia when he's a Congress MP doing what he did, and we don't need your permission to cover Vittal Bhai Radadia when he becomes a BJP MP. But you need to tell us. You need to tell us. You need to tell us whether you will give people like Vittal Bhai Radadia tickets in the future as well. We want to hear an answer from you on that. Please tell me.
It will be determined at the time of distributing the ticket.
Ah, there it is. That's the answer.
At the time of distributing
That's the answer. That's the clear answer. That is the clear answer I'm getting. Kia Raghunandan. Well, you see.
Absolutely.
Arnab,
Arnab, there's a very key point here.
Arnab,
one sec. Mr. Raghunandan.
Heard Mr. Aryaman. See, Mr. Aryaman explained the law very precisely, very concisely, and the current situation is that the moment that you're convicted, and if you happen to be a sitting member, you lose your seat at that very moment.
On that day.
Now the question is, what is the downstream incentive structure that it builds in a political party? So if I were running a mainstream political party today, I would immediately see that there is a risk factor in selecting a candidate who has got a charge sheet. So the question is, who will blink first? In my opinion, this is a threat. Definitely this is a threat to the way conventional mainstream political parties function. But believe me, a threat can be an opportunity. For example, I see the Aam Aadmi Party actually using this as an opportunity to say that we are not going to select such people in the first place. Now that does not preclude the possibility of either the Congress or the BJP or the SP or any other party doing the same thing.
Yes.
One leader from this party has to step forward and say, yes, we used to do this in the past. Yes, sorry, the Supreme Court judgment has changed the game and we will not do this.
Absolutely. And I am asked tonight, I am being asked tonight, Mr. Raghunandan, 1 minute. I am being asked tonight what right I have to ask the questions. And I say that in this democracy, written by the constitution of this country, as a free citizen and as a journalist who is accountable to no political party, I have the right to ask questions, and I do not need to take the permission of a political party to ask my questions, and I have not done so, and I will not do so.
Yes. And I would want you to cover. All of us are free citizens. When Mr. Raghunath is saying this, I have one person, that is Anjali Damania, continues to be with Aam Aadmi Party, and there is no answer coming from them. So let this be.
Now let Rahul answer that.
What answer do you want?
Let Rahul answer that.
The answers are right there on our website. Answers are right there on the website. Please care to at least go and look at the website. We are the only party which has an internal lokpal. We are the only party now. Now please listen to me. If you have asked a question, have the decency to listen to the answer also.
Enough of bhashan, Mr. Rahul.
Have the decency. Excuse me, enough of bhashan from your side and hypocrisy and double standards from so-called Bharatiya Janata Party. You are not being Bharatiya by giving lectures and sermons on national television. Now listen to Miss Lekhi, listen to. If you pose a question, you have to listen to it. How many? Do you have an internal lokpal? Do you have a political system where you only give tickets based on the reactions from Aam Aadmi? How many? Now listen. How many people? You have a. Now listen. When you pose a question, what are you talking? Is he a contestant? There is nothing pending against him. Is he a contestant in any of the? What are you talking? You don't know your facts. Now let me answer you. You know, it is the match fixing. It is the match fixing between BJP and Congress, because of which there is no Lokpal happening.
Now the question is to the Congress representative.
Congress, there is no.
The question is.
It is the match fixing between the BJP and the Congress that you keep on scratching the backs and stall the parliament whenever it suits.
One second.
It is the match fixing between.
1 second. You take a lead by not giving. You take a lead, Rahul Mehra. 1 second.
Illegitimate.
Rahul Mehra, you take a lead and don't give a single person with a pending criminal case a ticket in the Delhi election. You take a lead. Now my question.
Arnab, I am ready. Arnab, on your channel, I am ready to give it with my thumb impression on it. If you find a candidate of Aam Aadmi Party with a dubious background, you tell us, and right there and then, even if it is the last day, we will withdraw the candidature. I give it to you in writing.
I reiterate.
How many political parties have it in their manifesto? We have it in our manifesto.
I reiterate. 1 minute.
How many political parties have it in their constitution?
One second. Can I say something? I reiterate, and I will keep reiterating today. That under my constitutional mandated right as a free citizen of India and as a journalist accountable and responsible to no political party of this country, my next question is to the Congress party. In the Uttar Pradesh elections, I find an astounding number, Mr. Rajagopal. I find two statements. One, Sonia Gandhi says we must evolve a consensus on barring people with criminal records from contesting elections. Great. Manmohan Singh says backgrounds of contestants does not inspire confidence in voters. Great. But in the UP elections, you break all records. 34% of your candidates, 34%, 120 out of 354 have pending criminal cases against them. Mr. Rajagopal, why did that happen? And will you make sure that not one of them is brought back the next time?
Arnab, UP and Bihar could be an exception.
Why? No, why should UP be an exception?
Sonia is Sonia is very averse to anybody having any criminal background. She doesn't like to entertain anybody with a criminal background. That we are very sure about.
No, 34% of your people in UP had criminal backgrounds. 34%.
I don't have statistics, Arnab.
Only
I don't have statistics with me. But are any one of them convicted?
34%.
Are any one of them been convicted?
See, that argument does not hold now, Mr. Rajagopal. Mr. Rajagopal, will you be scared? Can I ask you as a counter question, since you've come late into the program? I want you to tell me and every panelist today whether you will be scared of putting that many number of people with pending cases in next time. At least that number from 34 should become 3.4? Or will you say, will you say regardless of the Supreme Court verdict, we will put people, whether it is Radadi or anyone else, on the index of winnability? Criminal record does not matter.
Arnab, let me just add to that.
Yes.
Look at Congress list in every state. The new criminals are not being denied. Anybody with a criminal background, a new candidate, definitely there's scrutiny going on. Existing candidates, existing MLAs, MPs, definitely it's very difficult to eliminate them. But the new people with criminal background, it's very difficult for them to get a Congress ticket.
Well, they have very easily got Congress tickets in the past. Gaurav Bhatia has asked a counter question. Gaurav Bhatia, yes.
Arnab, if you don't treat me as an adversary in this program, I have something to say on the judgment of the Supreme Court. With your permission, may I say so?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the conviction part is welcome, but we also have to understand the criminal justice delivery system of this country. There are high courts and there are trial courts, especially the trial courts where the trials linger on for years, sometimes 10 years, 15 years. This ruling would be very effective if we can also have trial courts which can give verdicts within a year or 2 years. Because in that case, if a person is convicted, he would be disqualified. What happens in the current scenario is it takes 10 years and 15 years before the trial is finally decided. So that also is a very important aspect. We need to overhaul the system.
But there is no link between convictions. You see,
can I just answer
in the present context, your point has no relevance. Yes. Go ahead.
Arnab, can I just answer that?
Yeah, go ahead quickly.
Arnab, see, this is going to be a welcome decision in a different context as well. Right now, we all know that it is the political masters which caged CBI and the premier investigating agencies from delivering. Now, they will probably have to have a rethink and a re-strategy. The reason for that is because now the clock is turned around. Earlier, it was beneficial to delay the prosecutions, delay the final verdict from coming because you were occupying the seat. Now, it is in your interest to ensure that the judicial mechanism and everything is, effectively lubricated to enhance the speedy justice delivery system. So those people who used to hire the best of lawyers and stall the machinery and go at different levels at appellate stages and revisional stages, they will desist and they would like to have a final verdict come out, and therefore it is even welcome from that side. It will help in effective judicial
when I began the program tonight, I was hopeful that political parties would say that here is a chance to make sure people like Mohammad Chaabudi, Papu Yadav, Suraj Bhan Singh, Raja Bhaiya and other greats of their eminence, Vittal Bhai Radadia, don't represent the people in the future. We need people of a different nature. Yes, well, but I have found a strange diffidence in political parties to today's landmark routing.
No.
And that I find.
Arnab, I just want to make one point. I want to make one point.
Yes, Ms. Meenakshi Lekhi, and after that I will close this evening. Yes, with Mr. Raghunandan. Yeah.
The point I'm making is when Mr. Raghunandan started, I think that and Mr. Mishra, the statement is what this judgment is all about. In political spectrum, there are chances of having false prosecutions. We've seen the misuse of CBI, and in certain cases like Pawan Bansal will get off and somebody else will be, even if an LET operative will be told to be a false encounter. So we've seen all this, and under these circumstances, I think the manner in which the Supreme Court has deciphered it, making it conviction, is very, very welcome decision, and I think everyone should welcome, because electoral reforms is something which was underway for a long time, and this is a welcome decision.
Yes, okay.
Now coming to the next point.
Now
in cases when the charges are framed, when I don't know who was speaking, but they were saying it's going to expedite the process. It is not expediting the process, because as per the law, within 6 months there is going to be a re-election, and I don't think in this country the appeal or the revision or the second appeal up to the second appeal stage can be disposed of within 6 months. I think if we can tighten that system,
yes, and I think better governance.
Far
and I'm going to hold up one piece of paper. I want the camera to come in close.
Absolutely.
I want the camera to come in close. I have one piece of paper and I asked that question to Mr. Raghunandan. In my hand is a piece of paper which is, as far as the law is concerned, the biodata of Mr. Vittal Bhai Radadia. These are all the charges which are pending against him. Now there are many others also from several parties. No political party is immune from it. No political party is immune from it. But 1 second.
Why aren't you quoting others?
Yeah, because he's a stellar example of the political class which has been.
He's only one person.
My question
to
why are you defending him?
There were no question.
Why are you defending him? Before the Gujarat elections, you were attacking him.
I'm not defending him. I am not defending him.
So let me continue.
I am raising questions that
he becomes important
Mr. Radadia. Only when he joins BJP.
Don't be touchy about Mr. Radadia.
Important when he was in.
Don't be touchy about Mr. Radadia like the Congress was earlier.
Well,
I am asking a question to Mr. Raghunandan. Please allow me, please. I don't know why you are jumping. I want to be allowed, as per my constitutionally mandated right, to ask questions to you, and I request you not to display intolerance to me tonight.
I want you to be fair and act fair.
Well, I don't know why you are being so touchy about Vittal Bhai Radadia. I will play all the tapes of what you said about Vittal Bhai Radadia before the Gujarat elections.
Why aren't you naming Congress? Are you scared?
I have mentioned it. I have asked the questions, Ms. Meenakshi Lekhi. Ms. Meenakshi Lekhi, I am not scared of asking questions to anyone, including to you. If you are going to be touchy about it, I am sorry about it. Ms. Lekhi, I have asked the questions. You heard the questions, so please come. Ms. Lekhi,
and sound correct.
Ms. Lekhi, please.
And two bads make a right, Arnav.
Now here's the question. Here's my last question to Mr. Raghunandan. Mr. Raghunandan, the simple logic is this. I would have presumed that after today's verdict, political parties would say we will not give tickets to those with criminal charges, which is what they have been saying on record we will attempt not to do. Will we see a change? And how can people help bring about that change?
So. They should be asking aggressive questions like you do, and I think that is going to happen. You see, today political parties seem shell-shocked, and they're probably not willing to admit it openly in a program where you've been very aggressive at them. But the fact of the matter is that this has changed the incentive structure. So what happens is that earlier political parties were waiting for other political parties to select people without criminal records, and always the onus was on somebody else. Now when you have a judgment of this nature, all it needs is one progressive visionary leader in each political party to stand up and atone and really go the extra mile. Not pick people with charge sheets, but go an extra mile and say that we are not even going to pick people who have some kind of charges. There is, I think, at the end of the day, this judgment changes the game, and it can actually be an opportunity for
well, I hope so, because we are not cynics and we believe that change can and will happen. Thank you very much. The interview, 50 questions to Digvijay Singh, is coming up on the other side. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.